Hey, everybody, it's been quite a while. Yeah, I just had to get my things done, get my things fixed so that we can continue this tutorial. If you saw my recent posts, yeah. But we are back again and we are continuing the CRUD operations part 2. And as you can see, our most previous stop in our previous video was getting all users, right? And as you can see here, I have tried to, let me push this, let me shift this to my window here. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I have I basically have my server started. My server has started here, and I'm just going to restart it so that you see that the server is going to be connected. Okay, so now that the server is now connected and is connected to the database, I am going to try to get all users. Now, as you can see, we have invalid token. The reason why we have invalid token here is because when we go into I think login, when we go into the auth controller there, and going to login, you can see that we have an expiry for our JWT keys, which was 5 days, and the last time that I uploaded our latest video was like 7 days ago or something. So basically it's going to get expired. So how do we fix this? Because obviously I'm sure most of us or most of you have followed the tutorials for quite a while now, and I have not heard from the part 2, or I've not heard from the latest video. So obviously your verified tokens are going to be expired by now. So how do we fix this? If you remember, we went into this folder to go and make some changes inside this authorization key here, the bearer token here. So what we do is we just need to replace this. But how do we do that? We go into our login, and then we try to log in one more time. Then we get like a new token here. So what happens is you copy the new token, you copy this, and then you get back into this folder, and then you replace it. Then after replacing it, you save. So Control S to save it, and then you go to your get all users, and then we send to get all the users that we have. Okay, so how many users do we have? 1 2 3 4 5. Right, so now that we have 5 users, we want to basically create a query or create a functionality where we can get the latest 3 users, right? Now there are a couple of ways we could do it. We could basically create like a new controller for it, get latest users and just pass in and get like its own custom route and everything. But no, I just want to quickly demonstrate how you can perform this here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, you see inside Postman here, what you can do is, you see over here, when I say I'm getting all users, I can just get all the users right now, like, and get all these users, right? But if I want to get the first 3 latest users that was created like not long ago, basically what I can do is I could just come here and put in something like latest and then put in true, and then you should see the changes being made here. Okay, latest true. Okay, so now that I have that, I can create a const say query, and then I could say request.query latest, right? Request.query.latest. Then over here I could say something like I could say something like in case query exists, right? If query is true, then I need you to await users, okay, or I need you to query out all the users. But when you query the users or you find the users, I need you to limit them to just 3. Okay, now we could, okay, and or else if that is not possible, we can just, or if query is not available, we can just await the users and just find them, right? We can just find them here. Okay, so basically what this would do is it will just, looking at this part, right? You have one, so you have James, you have James boy, and then you have James boy girl, right? When we do this without performing a special method in between here, it's just going to get the first three users that has been displayed in the database. Okay, so a quick demonstration of that is, I'm gonna come here. So we already have latest, this latest, which is this one latest here, being set to the true that we are checking over here. Okay, so I'm going to send, and then we should get just James, James boy, and James boy girl. Okay, just like how we said, but we want to get the latest users, right? So obviously in such a list like this, things would switch up a bit. All right, so when it comes to such a case, in between here, I'm going to pass in a sort method, and then I'm going to create this object inside, and I'm going to say the ID, and then I'm going to set that to -1. Okay, now that we have this, I'm going to go back into Postman and test it. All right, so when we test it, we have one, so we have test, and James boy girl, obviously. So as you can see, this is how we can perform special queries in the database. Alright, so now that we've been able to perform this query, we want to now perform our last query for the user model, basically. So now what we want to do right now is we want to be able to get the user statistics. Okay, and then we are getting what statistics that we getting, that should be like our first question. And then the statistics that we are getting is basically users that have been created since last year. Okay, so this part, you're basically going to learn how to handle the mongodb aggregation pipeline to extract data from your collections in your database. Okay, so what we can do is we can create a new function and say that it's get user stats. Okay, get user stats, and then we are going to say it's an asynchronous function that takes in request response, and then we have our arrow, or we have this. So we are basically going to have our try catch section. We're going to log out the error. I'm going to log out the error here. Okay, I'm going to log out the error here, and then we can send out a response. We can send out a response dot status 500, and with a JSON object saying message, and then the message is going to be user statistics acquisition error. Okay, then or we could say an error occurred acquiring user stats, an error occurred acquiring user statistics. Okay, let's close this space. Then we can pass in the error dot message, and then say error, so error dot message. Okay, so over here we are going to create so basically the mindset or the plan that we are going to do is we're going to look through the collection, and then we're going to search for users that have their created at field to be last year, okay, or to be less than last year. Okay, so, or it should be within last year. Okay, and then right after we are done finding these users, we are going to create a new list and place these users inside based off of their months, right? Then after we place these users inside this list, we can now group all of those users in its own separate list, and then calculate the number of users that were created last year. Okay, so, and also that new list is also going to contain the users grouped according to their months. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new date instance. So we're going to say date is equal to new date. Okay, then we're going to call that. Then we're going to create another, say last year. Last year is going to be new date, and then inside new date we are going to set, right? We are going to, inside this new date, we are going to set, I'm going to say date dot set full year. Okay, then inside this set full year, we're going to say date again dot get full year. All right, then we're going to say -1. Okay, then right after that, we're going to say that const user stats is obviously going to be equal to await user dot aggregate, await user dot aggregate, and then we are going to match. Okay, so basically the part where I said we are going to look inside our user collection and then get all the users based on their created at dates. Okay, so this match method is what would help us do that. And then inside this match method, we are going to look at the created at field for each and every single user. Okay, and then we are going to place in this value. So the value is going to be all the dates. Okay, so the value is going to be all the dates or all the months, right, that are before last year. Okay, before or the same as last year's months, right? So we're going to say this GTE, and then we are going to pass in last year. Okay, so now that we have this in there, we're going to create another object down here, and then in here we are going to create that new list that I talked about. So project is what is going to help us do that, and then inside we can call the months. Okay, so we can say month, say months. Then inside this object we have the month. Okay, and then we are picking this month based off of this created at that we have. Okay, so created at. Okay, then after we have this month that we've created in our new list, we want to now group them, or we want to group all those months based on what? We're going to group all those months inside this object. We're going to group all those months inside this object. Okay, so I'm going to pick out the ID. Then I'm going to say that we have inside this ID we have the month number of each and every the month number of basically each and every month that we were able to put in here. Okay, and then under it we have the total. Then under we have the total. The total is going to be performed with this function called sum, and then 1. Okay, so that should basically give us what we're looking for. This thing basically generates the month number. So when you come into, okay, I'm getting this error, and I would have to start this again. So basically, when you get into your database, this part, this 12 you're seeing here, which is December, that is what we are going to get. That is what we are going to get inside the last year thing that we are seeing here, and then we pass them in here, and then we get this month based off of that number that we had here, and then we now group them. So basically what happens is if this was created in December and the other was created in October, would have two different objects for these two different months, and then the total number of users that were created inside those different months. That's what we're going to be getting. Alright, so now that we know this, okay, let's open the database. Okay, so we're going to go into e-commerce MERN. We have the users. Okay, so we are going to have these, as I said, the 12 here. Okay, so now that we have this function, we need to export it as usual. So let's copy this, and then export this, and then we'd go into section, import it, and then we create this new route, and with the endpoint stats, and then we do it verify admin, then we set it to get user stats. Okay, now that we have this, we are going to go into Postman, and then we would create a new request, or let's just copy this. Let's duplicate this, because this and the other one simply have no real differences. Then I'll take get user stats. Okay, get user stats, then I'll change this to stats. We have nothing in the body, obviously, and our auth is already set to inherit from parent. Okay, so that it takes it from this folder, and then what we can do is I'll just send okay, there might be an error. What error are we getting? Okay, there is no error. Okay, yes, I forgot, we forgot to send out a response. Okay, so yes, so the response.status 200 should send out a JSON object, and then inside this JSON object we have a message key which has the value user data user data retrieved successfully. Okay, user data retrieved successfully, and then we have user stats. Okay, or user stats retrieved successfully. Then we can now come back and then send. Okay, so as you can see, we have the month here so these are the total number of users that were created last year in December, since 12 represents December, right? So let's go back to the database and manipulate some of the years, so that you see that it creates another object for extra users that were created in a different month. So I'm going to change that to say I'm going to change that to just November, because so basically let's take these first two, they make more sense to manipulate them. Let me change it to October. I'll change that to October, and then I'll change that to October as well. Okay, then let me make this November, so that you get the whole trend. Okay, let's make this November. So when I come back and I sent, you can see that it's creating different objects here. Okay, so we have the user stats throwing out this array of objects, saying that in October we have two users that were created last year in October, and then in this and in December we have 2 users that were created, but in November we have just 1 user that was created. Okay, so basically that is what we can do or want to do at the moment for getting user statistics. Okay, so we are going to move on to our products. Moving on to the products, we can basically go into we can create a new controller for products. So we can create that here, say product.controller.js, okay, or just product, basically just product.controller. Oh no, so product.controller.js. So now that we have this, we can create we can import the product model, right? So we can say product should be equal to require. What are we requiring? We're requiring the product model from where? So from the model section, and then we call the product model. Then I prefer to add the extensions just to be safe. Okay, so let's first of all create our first product. Okay, so let's create a function for creating our first product. So we're going to say const create product. Okay, then we're going to say it's an asynchronous function, and then inside creating products, so we're going to say that it's going to take a request and a response. Then in here we are going to create a try catch block, of which of course we would console log the error, and then we can also send out a response.status of 500, which is going to have a JSON object, first sending out a message that says error creating, or let's write an error occurred while creating product. Okay, now that we have this, we are going to now send the error also as, so we're going to send error.message. Okay, now that we know this, let us create a new product. So we're going to take this product model here, and then we're going to create a new instance of it. Okay, and then we're going to save it inside the database. So we're going to say const new product is going to be equal to new, then the product up there, the product model, new product model, and then what are we going to pass inside? We're going to pass everything that we put inside the request.body. We are going to send that. Okay, we are going to send that to the server, and then after we send that to the server, what do we want to do? We want to await what? We want to await this new product and save it. Okay, we want to await and save it. So once we run this create product endpoint, it's going to create a new product instance, taking everything we passed through the body. Then we save this product into the database, creating a new product collection in here. Okay, so what we will do now is, after we are done creating, we're going to send a response with a status of 200, saying with a JSON object with a message of product created successfully, and then we are going to pass the new product that we created down. I'm going to send that as a response. Okay, so what can we do now? Then the next thing we can do is to export. Let's export. Oh, no, module dot exports. Then we are going to export this create product as a module. So create product. After exporting, we can go into our route and create a route for product. So we can say product dot route dot js. Okay, then we would let me just, I want to pick out this section and then put it here. Yeah, and pick out this section as well. I don't know how I'm feeling lazy to write it, but hey, then I just put that here as well. Now that we have this, we can say router. Oh no, we can say router dot post, because it's going to be a post request. It's going to be sent down this path. Okay, then we are going to verify if the person's an admin, obviously. Then we are going to say create product. Okay, all right, so yes, we are creating a new product, and then once that is done, we should see a product inside the database. Okay, so let's test what we have. Let's first of all go into the product model so that we know whatever we are passing. So we have the title, description, image, okay, category, size, color, price. Okay, now I would handle the image, but for now let me comment this out, okay, so that we test the product, the creation of the product. Then after creation of the product, we'll go into how to use Cloud9 to handle your image uploads as well. Okay, so let us go into our Postman, and then let us create a section whereby you can create a product. So I can come here and say new folder, and then I can set that to products. Okay, I can set that to the product, and then I can create like a new request here, and then inside this I'm going to say create product. Okay, create product, and then this create product is obviously going to be a post request. Okay, then I am going to say base URL is going to be product. Okay, product, just product. And then we need to make sure that our server.js can recognize our routes. But okay, obviously we created this one here, so we can copy this and paste this, and then we can copy and paste this as well. Then we just have to change the names here. To product routes. Then we change this name also to product.routes.js. Okay, now that we have that, we can change this to a products, and then it's obviously a post request here. Okay, so we're going to change this to raw and then JSON. Then over here we have the title, so we have the title being passed through. Then what else do we have? So the title is definitely going to be, let's test something like Nike t-shirt. Okay, Nike t-shirt. Okay, then what else are we going to have? I think description. I need to check the name of the description, because if I get it wrong. Okay, so we have just this. Okay, so description is basically going to be Nike. Okay, so this is one, or basically this Nike shirt. This Nike shirt has a blue color and white stripes that make you look cool the best you can and comfortable. Okay, then what else do we have? We have image, of which I said we would handle later. Then we have the categories here. So for the categories in here, I'm gonna go back, and then over here I can create the categories here, and then inside we are going to have an array, and then the array is going to be so what is the first category that we will deal with? So let's say shirts for now, shirts. Then what other category do we have? Urban. Okay, so we have urban. Okay, then what other thing? So we have the size, the color, and the price. Size, color, and the price. So the size here, we can set the size. You can set the size to be extra large. Then we can come here and say that the color and the price. Okay, so we need to make sure that there's a uniform in cases, so I'll change this to just price like this. So the color and the price. Okay, so we have color. The color is going to be green. Okay, and then the price is going to be $24. Okay, I mean, since it's string, yeah, $24. Okay, so now that we have this inside our postman, what we can do is I can just send. Okay, so but before we send, we need to make sure that we are passing our auth, right? And obviously the auth here isn't the same thing at the product side, so let's just copy this, go to the product side, go to authorization, and then go to bearer token, and then just paste it here. Then we come back and then save. Then when we send, we should be able to get the products that were created. So we have a new product with the category shirt urban. Then we have the ID with the title, the description, the size, the color, the price. Okay, all right, so basically this is just a quick overview of how to create basically any new item inside a database. Let us go into the database and verify if it has been created. Okay, so okay, so it's here. Alright, so as you can see, the product has been created exactly with the values that we provided in Postman. Okay, yeah, so basically this is the end of part 2 in handling CRUD operations in your MERN stack backend. In the next part, we're basically going to be talking about handling image uploads and other things that should make the backend something more easy for you to understand and use in your own certain. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.